guys, welcome back to another episode of the Chronic Chronicles. I'm your host Lexi, and today I'm super excited to introduce you to Kate, the brilliant mind behind RebRelief, the viral heating pad diaper. If you guys haven't heard about this yet, I am going to tell you all about it. It's been making waves in the endo and chronic pain community, and Kate is not only the innovator and the founder, she also has walked the endo journey herself, which makes this episode all the more special. We're talking about how necessity really is the mother of invention, how she went from struggling with debilitating cramps, which she still is, we all are, it's a ever-flowing journey, but from debilitating cramps to developing a product that's helping hundreds to thousands of others find relief, and what it's like to build a business while living with a chronic condition. So if you've ever worn a heat pack under your clothes, longed for a better solution, or are just curious about how women's health innovation is changing the game, this one's for you. Let's get into it. This episode is brought to you by Spicy, the clean ingredient-packed heating patch that sticks with you. Literally. Whether you're stuck in a meeting, you're running errands, or you did what I did this week, was trying to sit by the pool with cramps, Spicy's got your back. No cords, no microwaves, no awkwardly holding a heating pad to your pants like a little weird womb gremlin. Just stick and peel and feel the hot and spicy relief. Go to getspicy.com, that's SPICEY.com, and use code Chronic Chronicles for a discount. Because cramps don't wait, and neither should you.
I'm Kate Bray, CEO and founder of RebRelief and VP of Marketing and minority partner at an agency called Incrementum Digital. And I have horrible endometriosis. I have had 4 surgeries, and I've had the lunar procedure, I've had my nerve severed, I've had cysts removed. They've been all over in my abdomen and my cul-de-sac. Yeah, so I started a company for period relief, and I am just a girl. I'm doing the best. And yeah, that's I've been doing e-commerce and e-commerce strategy for about 10 years now,
Oh,
and
wow.
love it. Yeah, it's definitely my passion. Yeah, I'm chronically ill and I'm just doing my best. So
Yeah. I mean, you're doing really well, I guess. I mean, I feel like I've been seeing RebRelief like everywhere, so that's good.
yeah, that's the nature of also working at an ad agency in my day job. I have
That helps.
a lot of
Yeah.
tools. So that's good. That's good. Yeah.
Honestly, that makes me feel slightly better because I like with my small business, like I know nothing. I don't have any background in that. And I'm like, how the hell? I'm like, obviously your product is amazing. So I'm like, it should go viral and all this stuff. But I'm like, how does she like know what? I'm like, where are you getting all of this from?
That's
So
funny. Yeah. No, it's genuinely not even me. It's a team of people who are really good at it. So yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Can you tell us? I mean, you did say a little bit about your journey with endo, but
Yeah.
I know that that's a really complicated, like it's a complicated question for me to be like, tell me more about your journey with endo. What does that look like? But I guess like when did you start to feel like you maybe had something wrong? Like how old were you?
Yeah, I actually remember the moment. I was training for a marathon for the first time when I think I was 17, and
Wow.
I was in the middle of a run, and I was maybe 2 weeks out. It was 2 weeks after my period, and the shaking of like running was so excruciating. And I was trying so hard to just like put it in the back of my mind and just finish the run. And I couldn't. And from that day on, one, had to stop running, two, spent like every other week at the doctor's office once I finally got, that first initial appointment where they said like this could be endometriosis. And then, yeah, I mean, the rest is history. I can kind of go into that too.
Yeah.
So I got diagnosed pretty soon after that okay, so this is important, by a female doctor who I love, Dr. Dion. She actually ended up retiring and went into surgery. She was like, your abdomen was messed up. We had to pull out a bunch of stuff. And I was like, great, I should feel better. a year later, I came back with the same symptoms, and
Hmm.
that doctor wasn't available. So I ended up going with this other doctor who I will never return to. And I always just personally, when I look back at my endometriosis journey, this is what comes up the most for me was the moment he looked at me and said, if you don't get pregnant in the next 5 months, you will never have children. And oh gosh, I mean, maybe that was a couple years after my first surgery because I was dating my now husband at the time
Hmm.
and we weren't even engaged. I was like, you have to
Yeah.
be married to have babies.
Yeah.
So I like, and I come from a very traditional family. That's a whole different story. But yeah, I mean, we were like, okay, let's do this thing. Let's get married. We got to have kids. Like, I really want to be a mom. And um, I didn't end up getting pregnant for 2 years. I did end up getting, because my pain was so bad, he prescribed me Oxycontin. Um,
Hmm.
and it was an open-ended prescription, which
Hmm.
looking back, that was so irresponsible of him
Yeah.
because it was extremely addictive. But it was for about 2 months that before they could get me into surgery that I was on that. So I went into surgery, and when I woke up, they told me they not only did endometriosis surgery, but they also did the lunar procedure, which I did not consent to. I didn't have any information about it. They just went ahead and did it because, and looking back, my thinking is like, this is a man who's just probably sick of hearing about chronic pain. He probably just decided, like, it's in my best interest to sever these
Yeah.
nerves and,
Yeah.
whatever happens, happens.
Can you say really quick for anyone that might not know what the lunar procedure is?
Yeah, my understanding of it is there's a complex of nerves in your pelvic
Hmm.
floor, and there's this one or group of a few that they can sever that is known to decrease pelvic pain, but there are complications that can arise from it. Like you can have post-surgical complications, you can have bladder issues. There's all kinds of stuff that can
Hmm. Hmm.
come up from it. And so for me, after that surgery, I couldn't sit up without passing out for 24
Oh,
hours, which was horrible. It was traumatizing, honestly. I was puking. My body was just rejecting whatever had just happened. And I was still kind of coming to terms with the fact that he did that. Yeah. So I was on Oxycontin for that week. I ran out of my prescription that weekend. And when I called the office, they told me that he was out. They couldn't send me more. Tough, just it was.
yeah.
So I ended up going through full blown withdrawal, like from Oxy that
Yeah.
weekend. And I was also having on the side that he severed the nerve, it looked like I was 6 months pregnant because it was so swollen. Like it was horrible, horrible experience. Ended up back in surgery a year later with
Ugh,
a female doctor this time. And I told her everything that had happened, and she listened, and the surgery could not have gone smoother.
that's good. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got pregnant about a year after that. And and then I had one more surgery after I was pregnant. So I've had a lot of laparoscopic cauterizations of my endometriosis, but nothing like excised. And that's kind of been my journey since 2006.
I feel related to some of your story. All the period symptoms, like everything, I'm like, something's just not right. And then when I finally did get diagnosed, after that, I also just had the ablation, like cauterization surgery. I didn't even know that like excisions existed at that. This is like 7 years ago. I'm sure that they did, but like I had no idea that that was an option. And then after surgery, probably like 6 months later, I was in just as much pain. And I'm like, I don't feel like it really like did any pain relief. And then I went back and saw my doctor, and she was like, well, that wasn't the goal of the surgery. The goal of the surgery was to like explore and like see if you had it or not. Like it was a diagnostic surgery. It wasn't to make you feel better or like for symptom relief. And then I was just like really confused because I was like, was that explained to me? Like, and I look back on that and I'm like, maybe she explained it. Maybe I just wasn't hearing it because I was like 19. I don't know. And then she was like, well, One, I think you should get a hysterectomy and yeah, and freeze your eggs because I was also very like open about wanting to go to medical school and like I wanted to do all these things like I was very like career driven, but I also wanted kids. Like I always knew that. So she's like, I think because of the amount of pain that you're in, you should get a hysterectomy and freeze your eggs or get pregnant like right now because you're probably not going to be able to. And then also gave me an unlimited amount of hydrocodone. So like you can just keep getting it. And
Yeah.
thankfully for me, I have always been like very like hyper conscious of addiction because I have a lot of addiction in my family. So I just like wouldn't allow myself to like take the medication. But I did feel like what's weird about it is I rarely took it. I would only take it when I like literally was going to go to the ER. Like I'm going to the ER, so like this is what they're going to do anyways. So I
Yeah.
would take it then. But it was so weird because I also felt validated in my pain because I had this prescription. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, they must know that I'm in this much pain because they gave me an unlimited amount of like this high painkiller. So like
I
that
want to ask
that like
you,
made me feel better.
after surgery, did you
Mhm.
get that? Did they pump you with gas?
Yeah.
Did you have any trouble with like the gas leaving your body over the next few days where it would go up to your shoulders and it's like hard to breathe?
Oh yeah, yeah,
Oh
yeah.
my God, that's the
It
only
was
thing that I'm like,
awful.
I don't want to do it again. It's not worth it to me.
Yeah. Well, that's also, so I had that surgery like 7 years ago, and for years I've been like, okay, looking into excision surgery specialist, and I've been seeing this doctor here in Seattle, and we've been talking about an excision surgery, and I have really been highly considering it, but now I'm like, the recovery was just not good.
Yeah,
So I'm scared of doing like
so
anything more.
scary.
But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're immobilized too. Like you can't get up, you can't roll over, you
Mhm.
can't do anything for 2 weeks. You're just in
Yeah.
it's so miserable.
I know. And that surgery too, like I have so many like thought my boyfriend and I have been together through that whole thing. And so he's like, if you need another surgery, like, it's okay. We got it. I'll support you. But I'm like, do you remember how hard that was, though? I'm like, you had to like
Yeah.
help me onto the toilet. Like, you had to wash my hair for like two
Yeah.
weeks.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's
you sure?
insane. Yeah, it's no joke. I
Yeah.
just actually filled out a form today to go see Dr. Andrea Vidali I don't he's a on Instagram
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. I've seen him before. He's
trail.
foreign. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know what he speaks English, but like what, he has an accent. I don't know what accent it is.
Say like Ukrainian or something.
Yeah,
Maybe that's
definitely. I'll look.
but
I'll
he's
link him.
starting like a firm of a bunch of doctors that specialize in the excision
Hmm.
and the stuff he posts is so helpful because it's
It
like
is super helpful, yeah.
you're seeing like people's pelvises in real
Hmm.
time and you're seeing the stuff that they're cutting out. It's like, oh, okay, like that's what my pelvis looks like because
Yeah.
it's just riddled with endometriosis. So yeah, it's crazy.
Ugh. That would be really cool though to go to him
Yeah,
because
and I'm like, we should do content together or something because I'm like, just put me on live, like TikTok live while I'm on the surgery.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't
give me
care.
surgery and just like
Yeah.
show it to everyone.
Yeah. But no, I think it's stuff like that is so important. And like his videos only get a couple hundred views most of the time, but he does it anyways because it is truly so important.
It
So
is super, super important. I think honestly, he might have been like some of the first videos that I saw about excision. And then I was like, whoa,
yeah,
wait a minute. I'm like, what is this?
yeah, because it's so graphic, but you're like, whoa. Yeah.
Okay, so fast forward, you did end up you have a daughter. She's
Yeah.
super cute. Um, was that like a hard, I, I know this isn't everyone's experience, but like for me and for a lot of people that I've heard, my doctor was like, get pregnant or you're not going to get pregnant. Like, like, you're probably going to have fertility issues, yada,
Yeah.
yada, all the things, which is like when you're 19, 20, that's like super scary. I mean, it's scary to hear at any time, but
Yeah.
like, I felt the same way. Like, my boyfriend and I were like in college. I'm like, okay, well, we're not ready to have kids. Like, and even now, it's been years. We're both 27 and we're like slowly approaching being ready to like get married and have kids. but we've made it of I at least we have made it a very like strong thing where like it's okay, we're not going to be scared by like what these doctors are saying about the potential because like they don't actually like we don't really know. Like
No.
we'll see when it
It's so,
happens.
yeah, it's so different for everybody. You know.
Yeah. How did that process go for you? Like did you struggle to get pregnant or
Yeah. So, and I'm actually in what is technically now considered secondary infertility because we've been trying for 5 years without any success. I'm not even having miscarriages or like chemical pregnancies or anything. So something's blocked, I'm assuming, and I haven't had a surgery for 4 years. So
yeah.
there's something going on. But I had trouble getting, I've never had a miscarriage, thankfully. I know that's like horrible experience, but for 2 years before I got pregnant with Riley, we had nothing. And I, after a year of trying, I went on Clomid because, which is crazy that they didn't do any testing because they assumed that I wasn't ovulating, even though I was getting LH surges, my progesterone levels were fine.
Mm-hmm.
Put me on Clomid and they put me on 9 months of it, which you're only supposed to do three at it three. I was supposed to do three at a time, or 3 or 6. Like you're definitely not supposed to do nine
Yeah.
in a row. And Clomid stimulates ovulation. And they say, and I was so excited because I was like, maybe I'll have twins because you can have like twins if you're already
Yeah.
ovulating or
Yeah.
whatever. So after 9 rounds, I was like, okay, I'm just not supposed to be a mom. And I went to the
Mhm.
doctor. I got birth control because they were going to suppress me hormonally for however long while I pursued my career. I just finished my college degree or was just finishing it, I think. And I I planned a weekend of drinking with all of my friends. I think it was for my birthday. I think it was for my birthday. And I was so excited because we had never gone to the club, all of us together at the same time. And I was like, I'm 7 days late for my period and I am a clock. Like that's the one symptom with me that has not changed. I've always been very consistent and I don't understand why.
Hmm.
But I was 7 days late and I had been like tired and hungry. And so I was like, I'm just gonna test in in the office bathroom. And I did burst into tears, ran out to HR with a positive pregnancy test. I was like, I have to go home. Like I went home. So she knew before my husband knew. And she was like, I'm so happy for you because she went through the same thing. And we're still friends actually. She sent me her like Disneyland agent. Like we don't even work together. We're still friends, but
Aw.
it's like really special. Yeah, I mean, we struggled for 2 years before we did. And they're like, well, the Clomid definitely helped. And it's like, no, it didn't. Like, you give me a break. It didn't. I was
Yeah.
ovulating, whatever. But yeah, and they keep telling me like I need to try IUI or IVF, but I hear so many horror stories about how hard, particularly IVF is on the body. And so I'm just
Mhm.
like, I don't, I'm good. I'm not gonna, if it's not in the cards, it's not in the cards. It's not for me. So.
Yeah, I know that's kind of how I mean, again, like I'm not there yet. Like I have an IED. We're not even thinking about trying yet. But that has always been like in the back of my mind. I'm like, well, what I've always wanted to be a mom. So like what is that going to look like? Like it's
Yeah.
scary. And
Oh my
especially
God.
like I've I'm with the person that I want to get married to. Like it's just a scary thought. And then thankfully, he's always just been like, whatever is supposed to happen is going to happen. Like, if we're supposed to be parents, we'll be parents in whatever way we are supposed to be, even
Yeah.
though, like, that's also like hard for me to wrap my
My
head
God.
around because I'm like, I've always wanted to be pregnant. Like, I would, but yeah,
I
IVF is
will tell you
scary.
though, being pregnant was the most miserable 9 months of my entire life. Like, I want to do it again 1,000 times. It's just so crazy hearing myself say that now, but it was horrible. Like, you're puking nonstop for 3 months. And then for a couple months, you're like, oh, I'm cute and pregnant, but you're still exhausted all the time. You can't drink coffee. You can't put on self tanner. You can't do anything. And then for the last 3 months, your poop is so irregular. And like, some days you're constipated, some days you're just exploding. And then they're like, oh, it's your progesterone. Who knows? And then, like, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, you're nauseous again. And so you're puking and you're like, you can't eat, but you're starving. And like, Oh my gosh. And you can't, oh my gosh, like when you go to get out of bed, you can't lay on your back and you have to roll out and then it just hurts. And it's like, oh my God, it was so miserable. But oh my God. And then every time I see a pregnant girl now, I'm like, oh my God, I'm so loving it. And they're just like, I
No.
felt like this is not fun. So
I know
yeah.
it's so funny because I'm at the point in my life where like a lot of my friends are having kids and like family and stuff are having kids, so I'm like hearing them complain about it. They're like, "Oh yeah, I'm finally in the second trimester. I'm not puking every day." And I'm like, "Yeah, that sounds awful."
And
But
then your nose, like I got pregnancy nose. Have you seen that?
yeah.
Where it just changes, like it just grows on your face. And then you're like, you look in the mirror and you're like, who am I? I've never
What
felt
is
this
this?
ugly in my entire life. And it's not even like you're cute and you've just got like a little extra cheek, but like your nose is just, not everybody gets it. And then you're like, you're hanging around other pregnant women and they're not getting the nose. Oh my God,
Hmm.
it's crazy. It's everybody's experience is different, but like you just feel like I mean, I'm projecting this onto you, but like I felt so like the only pregnant person in the room that just hated it like every second.
Oh,
But yeah, and your ankles, like you stop seeing all the veins on your ankles because they just get so swollen. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. She's so cute. She's so worth it. Like I'll do it again. I don't care.
yeah. You're like, it was awful, but I'll do it right now.
I will do it 100 more times.
Yeah.
Like if I had an army, like a coven of daughters, I will do that 1,000 times. I don't care.
Oh,
But yeah, it's horrible. And it
yeah.
the life I honestly do think though, I was eating, this is so off topic. I was just eating like Flamin' Hot Cheetos and Cocoa Puffs the entire time. And so I didn't have protein, probably didn't have enough vitamin D. I probably didn't have like the collagen. So she was basically just pulling from my bone marrow to like build
Yeah,
her.
it's just like give me anything, please.
Yeah. Like, why am I so miserable? We're out of Cocoa Puffs. I want grilled cheese. Like, just so many, yeah, so much junk food.
Uh, you know, that's just me now though. Like I love
I know. I know I
things.
say that with me pregnant, but like,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like
it's on the
that's
fridge.
me all the time. I'm like, what time does Dairy Queen close? We're good.
Did you see they have mini cakes now? Like you can get the mini ice cream cake. My daughter
No.
last night were watching videos of the like, Dairy Queen ice cream cake, the mini one. Oh my gosh, we might go get it tonight. We're pretty
Yeah,
excited.
that sounds so good. I love that.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I love it.
Uh, I I mean, okay, so you had some probably now even fertility, a little bit of fertility issues, and I mean, I also wonder, so I've had and heard that doctors will say, "Oh, just get pregnant. Like that'll help your endo." Or like I've never understood the science behind that, and I'm like I'm gonna have to look into that and like link some stuff in the show notes too because I'm like do you still have like that's been debunked at this point that like pregnancy treats endometriosis or like makes it better or anything like that? Because a lot of people like will get pregnant, have a baby, and then have their symptoms come back. And I'm wondering like, do the symptoms actually go away during pregnancy, or are you just dealing with other things that might, you know what I mean? Like you're not actually having a period, but like the endo symptom, like you still have lesions. Like I don't
Right.
understand how.
So I am not, this is my, as a patient, this is my understanding of it, but I'm not a
Yeah.
doctor. And so this very well could be misleading. But the way I understand it is because pregnancy is so progesterone dominant and progesterone and estrogen are like they balance each other out. So when I think when progesterone
Yes.
is
Yeah.
present, like the estrogen is like, okay, I'll chill. But so when you're pregnant, you have a bunch of progesterone and like it starves the endometriosis and it's a bacterial. What they're finding now is you can suppress endometriosis with antibiotics, which is actually, I'm talking to my doctor about it tomorrow. I just want to try a round of this antibiotic that is really common that they've been testing on endometriosis in combination with like Ozempic, like microdosing Ozempic to like
Hmm.
down the inflammation.
Yeah.
But finding that like the bacterial profile of your pelvis has a lot to do with it because it's driven and carried around by bacteria, I
Yep.
think. So if you can suppress it for that 9 months for some people, that continues and then they're like, I'm cured. But
Hmm.
for me, that didn't happen. I will say when I was pregnant, there was a before she got heavy because of the way I carry out here. Like I carry all she was almost out of my body.
This episode is sponsored by Some Days, my holy grail when it comes to managing period pain and endo flares. Well, honestly, and just pain in general, any type of muscle cramp. If you found yourself curled up in bed wondering how cramps can feel like you're being run over by a teeny tiny internal bulldozer, yeah, same. That's where Some Days comes in. Their cramp cream, absolute magic. Their magnesium bath soak, heaven in a tub. They're a company built by people who actually get chronic pain, not some boardroom of people who think that a pink heating pad is a cure. Check them out at somedays.com and use code Chronic Chronicles for a discount.
Before that got so heavy that it was hard to stand, like I was the chronic pain was gone. And I remember thinking, like, this is how people feel all the time. You just walk
Yeah.
around, your
Yeah.
pelvis is on fire. Like that's
Interesting.
crazy.
I know. So I even like back in college, like when I got diagnosed, and then my doctor is like, "Well, get a hysterectomy or get pregnant. Like pick one." I was like, I
Mm,
was like, "What
same.
if I was a surrogate?" I'm like, can I surrogate all through college?
Yeah. Oh
Like,
my gosh. Yeah,
because
I've thought
I'm
about that too.
because she was like, "Well, your symptoms will be managed so much better." And like in my head, I was like, the symptoms of pregnancy would be more manageable than like what I'm going through right now. So I literally like very heavily contemplated being a surrogate like through college
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
like, this would be more manageable. And people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, "You're psycho, like you've never been pregnant, so you don't actually know that." But I'm like,
No.
I don't know. I heard, but it's really weird. So again, I need to research this a little bit more, but I heavily think that endometriosis is actually like, I think there are multiple types of endometriosis. I don't think that
Mhm.
it's just like one thing. And I think
Yeah.
that because there are, and I think a lot of people also think that way. There's just not research to necessarily indicate that for sure. But there are like some things that point in that direction. Like one, the fact that we have different stages. Like
Yeah.
I have a feeling that in the future, every stage is going to be a different type of endometriosis. Like these are
Mm.
different things. And I think some of
Yeah.
them have relation to bacteria. Some of them have relation to estrogen dominance, like progesterone resistance. But like not everyone with endo experiences progesterone resistance, estrogen dominance. Like it's
Yeah.
just really interesting. Like how endometriosis is one of the only diseases that is categorized as one thing and is so like widely different for everyone.
Well, it's so frustrating because
Hmm.
like they've studied male pattern baldness more than they've studied endometriosis, and
Yeah,
that's so upsetting. Like you
it's
think
so
about
upsetting.
it's a I mean, there was a stat I saw today that it's like $100 billion burden on the economy, endometriosis as a whole. And I think I don't know what diabetes is, but the stat was I didn't. I'm sometimes I think I'm dyslexic and I didn't read the whole study, but like I wonder how big the burden of diabetes is on the American economy. And so,
Yeah,
but then the thing that surprised me as a businesswoman is like this is a huge opportunity is like
to
for
make
capital
money.
to go in
Yeah,
and make money, but there's nobody in this space. Like when you go to the period aisle, it's the family planning aisle, and it's like, shh, don't tell anybody that you're getting stuff for your period. Like that's so embarrassing.
I know.
Like as someone who's in pain, I'm sitting there like, okay, there has to be. I just walked past the sprained ankle aisle, and there's all kinds of innovations there. Like these athletes are getting all kinds of new shapes and wraps and salves.
Mhm.
So I go to that period aisle, and it's hygiene. And what that says to me, and what that says to my 5-year-old daughter who's going to have a period someday, is don't tell anybody that you have a period. Like we don't want to see it, we don't want to hear about it. Make sure that it's like it's hygienic. And
Yeah.
that's so frustrating to me. And so
That's such a good point. I've actually never really thought of it that way, but you're so right. Like you go into that aisle and I mean, just recently there started being a little bit more like sticky heating pads that are like
but
specifically
recently like
like
yeah,
very recently,
yeah,
specifically targeted towards like periods. But before that, it was sticky heating pads for your back that I
yeah,
used to buy like four
for
years
shoulder.
ago
Yeah.
for different parts of your body. It was never for your period. Like
Yeah.
that, but that's what I have always used. So
But then,
you're
like,
so right.
think about like the last time you had a cold or last time you had the stomach flu. There's a whole that happens to you once or twice a year.
Yeah,
And
and there's
uh,
endless
yeah,
choices.
there's a lot of money in that. And like people know that's why there's a whole shelf of different brands offering symptomatic relief. But for
Hmm.
periods, there's barely anything. Even like at the Walmart in town, this is like it's the shelf. This is so probably autistic, but like the shelf at Walmart is like my muse. It's this bottom shelf, 2 aisles away from the period aisle, of king size heating pad, emperor sized heating pad. And then now in the last month, there's the menstruation crustacean, bless them. But like it's all targeted towards men who are dealing with back pain or
Yep.
chest pain. Or it's like, and it's like, yeah, the girls can use it for their periods. Like,
Yeah.
but
But
it's
that's not like the
so,
intended target.
no, no.
Yeah. So is this kind of like what I'll rephrase the question. Was there a specific moment where you were like, I want to create something for this? Was it kind of all of these things?
Yeah, and I actually back in early on in my career, I got to work with a brand called, it's not Odd Muse. That's not even close. Daloon.
Okay.
They're still doing like supplemental relief.
Okay.
And that's I got to do a lot of keyword research with our tools because I was running their ads. And when I was comparing, I had a portfolio of brands and I had a gout brand, I had a fish oil brand, and I had like a magnesium brand as well as this period relief brand. The keywords that people were using to search for these other brands, there was thousands of them. But for periods, there was maybe a couple, like 50 or 60 different variations, like period pain supplement, period pain this. There's not a lot of variation in it. And
Mhm.
that was the first thing that kind of sparked like, okay, that's weird. That happens every month. Like there should be way more. There's a huge gap here. It's not just that like you can make one product and you can kind of fit into this version of the toothbrush niche. Like there's a huge
Yeah.
gap here. And so then I just because I was using heating pads, I started tearing them apart. I started trying to understand like how they were built. And throughout my career, I've been lucky because I've been in really close proximity with like founders and vendors,
Mhm.
which has taught me a lot. Really, what that's left me with is like, if you have a question, you just ask someone. And if they say no, go ask the next person that you think might have the answer. If they don't, they might turn you on to someone who does. Because I am not, people think that I'm like in STEM or whatever, but
Mhm.
I literally just went and called Gemba and said, hey, I really want a diaper shaped heating pad. Can you find the people who can build it and make it like certifiable and all these things and
Wow.
be? Um,
Yeah.
and like it happened. And so I think the idea just came from like a series of, I think just, I don't know, things like that.
Why diaper shaped? Why? How'd you get there?
Have you ever had the butthole cramps?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why. Because I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm on my day two where the progesterone is making my poop finally move. And it's like, okay, but it hurts. And
Uh-huh.
I would have one rectangular heating pad here, one here, and then one between my legs, and just like in fetal position. And I would try to sleep and I would roll over and then I would have to wake up and readjust. And I got so sick
Hmm.
of that. And I even remember texting my friend and being like, I have this idea. I know you have endometriosis. Have you ever been desperate enough to like wear a heated diaper? And she was like, oh my God, yes. Like you have. And so I think I still have that text thread where we like went back and forth trying to figure out what to name it. And I owe her. I 100% will take her to Greece someday if this ever takes off. But like, oh, yeah, it just became something where I realized it's a literal pain point. And they teach you about that
Yeah.
in marketing and business. And they're like, you got to find the pain point. And I'm like, I know exactly where it is. It's
Yeah, like a
literally in my
legit
butthole.
one. Yeah.
So,
I can make sense on like why it would work, which is obviously why I've been like supportive of your company in general anyways.
yeah.
But also I have friends that use your product and I'm like, okay, for sure. So, and I don't have a heated diaper, but I do the same thing. Like when I'm on those pains, like I literally have a heating pad between my legs.
Yeah.
And my boyfriend has asked me before, he was like, aren't your cramps like in your like lower abdomen? And I'm like, sometimes it
Right.
literally feels like it's like just inside my vagina. Like it
Yeah.
actually like it's not, it's weird. And he's like, and I'm like, I think that's the adenomyosis. I don't know. But
Yeah. Though that's so true though, because like the more I've thought about this, the even just recently in the last couple months, the more it's like, okay, if you think of the uterus as the muscle that it is, because it's a muscle,
hmm.
it's 360 degrees. It's not like your calf muscle that's on the back of your leg that you can just put
Right.
that on. You have to heat the whole thing. And so
Hmm.
that vaginal canal is also a muscle. And usually we're just putting heating on just this top part. And
Yeah.
if that's okay, so this is if there's one thing that anybody who has endometriosis takes away from this conversation, this is what I want them to take away is like the ideas, the crazy ideas that you have to pursue them. Like there is even just I have a business degree. I'm qualified to say this. Like there's such a huge opportunity for us as a community to start to put these ideas out into the universe and say like, okay, for example, and I'll put this out there, like my next idea is some insertable heat that doesn't hurt, that's not thick and not girthy. Like this isn't like a sex toy, but like
Yeah, yeah.
something to like bring relief to that specific muscle so that we can start thinking about period relief more like sports recovery and less like something that the girls do every month in the red tent that nobody talks about. Like
Yeah.
this is so common and your ideas are so valid because you are experiencing the pain.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know. I 1000% agree with that because there are like anything that you do in those high pain moments that you're like, this is what's going to bring me some relief and I'm going to do it.
Yep.
You should do that. And
Yes.
if you can make it into something that you can also give to other people that is going to relieve pain, totally agree with you. Like, in those moments, and I've also done some like interesting things to be like, oh, this would make me feel better. Like this is what's gonna help. I also get like a lot of heat has always been like the number one thing that gives me little bit of relief with the pain. I recently, like probably the past like 2 years, have been getting such bad like boob pain on like
Yeah.
right before my period. I didn't really get it
Shooting.
like as a teenager, but like all of a sudden it hit 25 in like the past 2 years. I'm like my boobs are like rocks and they hurt so bad. So I've been putting like heating pads like on my boobs and I'm like, can we make
Oh
a
my
heated
God.
bra? I'm like, does that exist? Like,
I've someone commented that and I was like, oh my gosh, I
yeah,
wonder.
Kate, do that.
Can you imagine just like a whole set? Like that's my TikTok. That is my digital footprint and I am okay with it. But oh my God. Yeah, no, that's so interesting. I truly think that yeah, there's so much abundance out there. There's so many ideas where people are like, oh no, that's dumb. I'm not gonna do that, or it's too hard. It's not. Like
Or it's like
I'm saying
taboo
this,
or like this is gonna be
it is
embarrassing or
taboo. And that's
whatever.
the
And I'm
whole
like,
reason why it's gonna work is because it's taboo. Like that's
mhm.
why you're gonna be successful. And I'm saying this in the midst of the 125% tariff that is directly affecting my business. Like we're gonna figure it out at some point. But
Yeah.
like I know that this is needed and I know that the other ideas that still haven't been developed are so needed. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
I love female entrepreneurs and I love women. I wish that I wasn't straight, but tragically, yeah, no, I just
Yeah.
think it's so important. It's such important work and it's something I'm so passionate about. So,
I love that so much.
yeah.
I know we have to start wrapping up pretty soon, but I did want to ask you, Red Relief kind of like just started. Like when did
Yeah.
you're out of the pre-sale, right? Are you in like normal sale?
Yeah.
I don't know,
As of
normal sales?
last like 4 weeks ago, we're out of pre-order and now we're officially like fulfilling orders, which is yeah,
Okay.
a whole different beast, but yeah.
Yeah. So I know that you're probably still like very focused on that and like this is all very new-ish. But I wanted to ask, like, is there anything exciting happening down the line or like what are your ideas? What do you have upcoming
Yeah, I mean,
or anything that you can share?
barring the no, I'm so I'll overshare. No, but like as long as the tariff issue doesn't really suppress production too much, like we have another order of units coming, but I'm trying to figure that problem out right now. But I
Yeah.
have in that order that's coming, I have plus sizes for like an extended waistband, and I wanted to make sure that like the heat still went all the way around instead of just extending the belt so that it's like,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I mean, and then I'm also working on a new colorway that's more neutral because some people have asked for that. But then I'm also I really want to diversify the product line as much as I can. You know, I'm saying this with zero cash to do any of this because it's all going to tariffs. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, government.
Yeah, we love you. We love you for that. Yeah, I mean, those are the two immediate developments. And then after that, who knows? I mean, my goal is to get to a point where I can fill a shelf with Relief and then take a
Yeah.
picture in front of the shelf and then sell the company to someone and then do something similar and just keep trying to make this space into something that actually changes the experience for my daughter when she has her period.
Yay.
So, yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to say? This went by so fast.
So yeah, this is so fun. No, I think I'll be in Seattle sometime. So we should definitely do an in person
Yeah,
for
we definitely should.
diapers and like maybe with a heated bra, who knows?
Yeah, I know. That would be so fun.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much. I hope you loved this conversation with Kate as much as I did. It's so inspiring to see someone turn their pain into purpose and even more into a product that's genuinely changing lives. I love the period diaper. If you want to learn more about RebRelief or try it out for yourself, you can check out the links in the show notes. And thank you so much for being here, for being a part of this growing, powerful chronic illness community. And thank you so much for sharing these stories far and wide. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, stay cozy, and keep showing up.